What is going on, Phil Road Express? I'm Joshua Thomas, and I'm here to talk once again about Final Fantasy VII. It's the last couple weeks have revealed some stuff. Some dramatic things have come to pass, and you're seeing the footage of one of them, obviously. And then there's also just a lack of news in other respects. So we're going to talk about all that, and we're going to start off with the big elephant in the room. First Soldier. I gotta say, while it doesn't surprise me that things have kind of gone this way, I was still disappointed. I even though I had only posted really one video about this, and that was just like a week or two ago, like literally like a week before they announced that First Soldier's service was going to be ending. Yeah, that's it. So this is really just my second video on the topic, and once again, while I'm not surprised, I'm still disappointed because this had the potential to be a good game, and for all intents and purposes, aside from being on, a mobile platform, it really was a good game. Like, this is the only thing that kept it from being great. And yeah, and what really makes me sad though was the message that the creators left. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Sorry, I can't pull it up on the big screen. Despite all our efforts to bring you regular updates with fresh and exciting content, we haven't been able to deliver the experience that we were hoping to, and that you all deserve. So we have made the extremely tough decision to end services from Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier. So the actual end date, let me see here, is January 11th, 2022? No, wait. 2023. January 11th, 2023. So it's really sad. And the fact that the developers had to say that they weren't able to deliver the experience that they wanted to the fans, I feel like the only thing, once again, was that it's here, It's here on this phone instead of on this computer, which I'm streaming to you with. Now, the only experience that I've had with a game like this battle royale, dive into this giant map, free-for-all kind of thing, is PlayerUnknown Battleground Mobile, also known as PUBG Mobile. And I gotta say, this game's like 10 times better than PUBG Mobile. And while I haven't played it in a couple years, and I know that, yeah, PUBG Mobile did updates as well, like adding a zombie mode and that kind of thing, I still just enjoyed this much better. This, for all intents and purposes, even if you were to remove the Final Fantasy VII skin, to me was a more fun game than PUBG Mobile. And as you can see from the footage, they worked hard on this game, and it worked well on my device. I've got an Apple iPhone, and I know from the beginning there were some rough patches, especially in beta, but also, with some of the people who were their champions. I know famously Blitz had difficulty running this game because of his mobile device. He had one of the rarer mobile devices, and so he had glitches, and the devs were basically like, look, we can't fix the glitches right now. It's something that's unfortunately not on the top of our radar. So the footage you're seeing here, and honestly, when I found out this game was going to be canceled this January, instead of working on the video that I've been working on for like trying to get out the past 3 weeks, I instead started playing Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier and recording my playthroughs, because that's also one thing that I hadn't done, was recorded playthroughs of it. If you're just joining us, let me know if you played the first Soldier. Let me know if you're, you know, don't care about this, or if you are also kind of sad to see it go, even though you kind of expected it to fail. But but yeah, so it worked great for me, but I know it didn't work great for everyone, and people were trying to emulate it on a PC, or just tried to use any other means they could to be able to play it on a computer screen or a TV screen instead of a tiny phone screen. That was literally, to me, its only flaw. The First Soldier's only flaw. They came up with some really fun and innovative weapons and magic spells, and they were continuing to upgrade the classes. They were honestly adding more stuff to this game than I saw in a year or two of playing PUBG Mobile. So I really hate that the devs, had to put out this thing saying, we weren't able to deliver, even though it's clear that while there were flaws, there was some passion put into this project. There was time and effort and energy put into this that really did show. And that's not to say that it was perfect. It certainly wasn't perfect by any means, but I enjoyed my time playing it, and I'm going to continue to play this until it is out. But I tell you what, when I play this, it's just this sort of empty feeling now that I'm just like, man, I'm earning points on here, I'm getting experience, I'm unlocking new stuff, but it's all going to go away. So it's bittersweet, and it does make me wonder, had the devs been able to put this much time and effort into just putting this on one other platform, if they could have just put this on one other platform, probably PC, what would it have been like? Would that have saved it? Or all the energy that they put into having to create this for all these different mobile brands, Androids and iPhones and whatnot, could their time have better been spent perfecting it for PC users? Clearly, since this game was on mobile, it didn't require too much graphical requirements. It looks good for a cell phone screen, and even blown up on this computer screen, it still looks decent. It looks like, I don't know, I would say PlayStation 3 graphics, if not maybe a little bit better in some aspects. But that remains to be seen, and, there's a lot of people out there who are like, hey, maybe if we can get enough people playing this game before it's canceled, maybe the devs can see that, yeah, there were people who liked this game. The videos that came out last week, ever since this news was dropped, have been like, well, I saw this coming, and yep, this was bound to happen. This was destined to fail. But there are also people out there who are like, man, this is what I Twitch streamed. Don't ask me how they Twitch streamed it, because I know a lot of people had trouble with it. But they were like, this was the videos that I made on a regular basis. I played this game every day. I had fun with this game. And in spite of the mobile controls, as long as you set it up a little bit, you could have a fun experience with this. And that was mostly what I had. I had a fun experience with this. But yeah, did I also want to just play this on a larger screen on my PC instead of on my mobile device? It was nice to have something like this to play, because I do always enjoy having some kind of game that I can play on my phone, but I've got other options for that. And would I have played it as regularly had it been on my PC? The answer to that is no. But I know a lot of other people who just plain didn't get the game probably would have gotten the game, and they would have at least played it every once in a while, if not on a regular basis. But I was one of those guys who I went for level 80 each season to try and get the free pass for next season. I did spend a little bit of money to get the credits so that I could unlock certain things and see how it was. I unlocked the battle pass in season 1, and it's just sad to see it go. It is, but I think, and this is where we're getting into Ever Crisis territory, I think that maybe the reason we haven't seen information on Ever Crisis is because of what happened to First Soldier. So this could be a blessing in disguise. Is it possible that the reason we haven't gotten any new news on Ever Crisis, the reason that we haven't gotten a beta for Ever Crisis, is because they're reevaluating whether they want to make Ever Crisis multi-platform? Let me know what you think about that in a comment. I'm thinking that they have held this off because they saw what was happening with First Soldier. You know, they didn't just decide next week to cancel it. This is something that they've probably been meeting about for a couple of months now. They've been like, hey, look, if our information or if our player base continues to decline and we're not able to raise things soon, we're going to have to cancel the First Soldier. And that's what happened. The player base kept dropping, and I was wondering too, as I would get into battles, you can see in this footage right here, there are mostly NPCs populating the battlefield, which is why I was able to get so far in a lot of these. Usually, you know, in the past, I would probably run into a good 15 to 20 other real players. But recently, I've only been running into maybe 2 or 3 on a good night. So it is sad, but I'm hoping that this means that the reason we're not seeing Ever Crisis information and the reason that they haven't released a beta yet is because they're going to give us the news. I'm fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, you're hearing it here. They're going to give us the news that they are making Ever Crisis multi-platform so that the actual Final Fantasy fans can enjoy it on the platform that they want. And I hope that they start off with PC first, even if it's just Epic Games. Usually if they just release it on Epic Games to begin with, that means it's going to come to Steam eventually. That's what happened with Remake, and I don't see any reason why they couldn't do that also with Rebirth. So let me know what you think about Ever Crisis and why perhaps we haven't seen it. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on the First Soldier, if you played it or if you didn't play it because you just didn't care. Once again, I thought it was a fun game. But now we can go on to some what we could call a major update for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And that is, let me get to this news information here. So they've been doing these interviews and releasing them slowly about each chapter in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Let me switch over to my Remake hype reel. Where is it at? Hype reel. There we go. So they've been talking about Remake chapter by chapter and interviewing the directors, getting some juicy tidbits about their thought processes and the developmental decisions that were made during the game. Well, recently they got to chapter 18, and at the very end of this interview, it's just a text-based interview, they had a very interesting statement, and I'm going to read that statement for you now. Toriyama, the co-director and senior designer, he says at the very end, as it says at the end of the game, the unknown journey will continue, and Cloud and his friends will be on that journey for a while yet. From here on in, the Whispers cannot act to maintain the destined timeline, so fans can look forward to seeing what kind of future awaits the team. This is what they've been alluding to for a long time. This is what they alluded to basically for the entirety of the end of Chapter 18. They are defeating destiny, and therefore they're allowing themselves to change events that have happened. And this basically sets it in stone that yes, the whispers can no longer affect what the characters do. They can no longer affect the main party, and they can no longer affect Sephiroth. They can't affect Shinra. Shinra is free to make their own decisions too, whether they realize that's what's happening, whether they realize that they are diverging from the original timeline. From here on out, that's what happens. So a lot of people have questioned, we get these constant small tidbits talking about how it's going to change, but also how it's going to stay the same, but also how things are going to diverge a little bit, but also how we're still going to get all the stuff that we want. And I know a lot of fans can't quite grasp what that means. They're like, how can things be the same but different? How can we get the original Final Fantasy VII but also get something new? And, well, we can look at the scene right here from Remake. This is clearly something that was never in the original, but that has, by many fans, come to be accepted as the new canon. They're like, yeah, okay, this didn't happen in 1997, but it is happening in 2020. And we enjoyed it. This was an extension of everything that we enjoyed about Final Fantasy VII, the OG. And while, yes, there are some extensions and expansions in Remake that people didn't like, even fans who loved the game are like, did they have to do this? Maybe they couldn't have. Maybe they shouldn't have. But there's a huge positive fan base who's like, you know what? They did an amazing job on Remake, making like 85% of the game true to the original. So I'm on board to see, hopefully that they do the same thing, make 80 to 85% of Rebirth true to the original, and then give us that 15 to 20% extra. But let's be honest with ourselves here, guys. This remake. Let me go to the OG first. In the OG, the Midgar portion is about a 6 to 7 hour first time playthrough portion of the game. Meaning that, they expanded Remake into, depending on how you played, I'll say a 30-hour game. So that's 24 hours of extra content that they added to Remake. In other words, to be honest, more like 75% of Remake is actually brand new content. It's just that it was received and accepted that we accepted that, okay, yeah, we've got all these extra side missions with Tifa in Sector 7. I'm okay with that. I get it. They made it make sense. They made they gave us just more of what we wanted. They gave us the characters, and they gave us character development. So, same thing with, these scenes right here. We got more scenes with Aerith. We got more scenes with Barrett. And it was basically what happened in the OG, but expanded. Wall Market is an amazing example of that as well. We got a huge amount of Wall Market content that never existed in the OG, whether it came from the expanded compilation or whether they were just brand new characters. That there's a little bit of a mixture of all that, but we got extra. But because, hey, Wall Market existed in the original and Wall Market existed in an expanded portion in Remake, we kind of accepted that as simply continuing to go along with the information with the OG. All right, it said I had poor quality there. I thought I thought you lost me, but I'm still here. So, how in Rebirth are we going to get the same but different? The devs have already stated that we're going to go to all of the locations that existed in the OG, and we're going to get to see and experience a lot of these things that happened in the OG. So, for instance, we're going to get to, we're going to go to Junon. We're going to have to hop aboard the boat. We're going to cross the sea in that boat to get to Costa del Sol. but maybe the dialogue that these characters have and some of the things that happen are simply just going to be expanded upon. I think that we can have this cake and eat it too. We're going to get this remake of the original, but still we're going to get this icing on the top that is what is different. And of course, they also stated that some locations are going to be in the game but out of order. So I think this is what they mean by, we're going to get the same stuff that we had in the original, so it's going to be there. We're going to go to the Gold Saucer, we're going to have some kind of date go on there. But at the same time, maybe the way that we get Kate Sith, or Ketchi, however you want to pronounce it, into our party is going to be different. Maybe the events that take place at the Chocobo Ranch are going to be the same, but expanded upon. We're going to get some side quests in all these areas. So let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are on, all this news that the whispers are no longer affecting the timeline, therefore we know things are going to change. What percentage do you think it's going to change? What do you think is going to be your favorite part? And what do you think they're going to expand upon heavily? We know that Rebirth is going to have to cover a lot of ground that took place in the OG. Whether we make it to the Temple of the Ancients or whether we even make it all the way to the Northern Crater. I made an extensive video about how, the original strategy guide can give us clues as to what percentage of the game we're at. And I came up with, hey, look, Remake was actually 25% of the OG storyline. I think we're going to get through Act 2 in Rebirth. And I think I'm going to have to make an expanded video on that as well. But if my theory is correct, Act 2 is usually the largest part of any story. So Act 2 very well could get us all the way to the Northern Crater. Ugh, got dust in my mouth or something. Act 2 could get us all the way to the Northern Crater, and that's a ton of stuff. And then people are wondering, well, what's left for Part 3? Trust me when I say that Act 3 in the OG, after the Northern Crater incident, is still a ton of stuff. It's still a lot of things to go over with. So let me know, what your thoughts are on the video, on First Soldier, on Ever Crisis, the delay in, the no news that we have for Ever Crisis. I keep getting some warning signals up here saying that my stream connection isn't too well. So I am going to go ahead and end it here. Hopefully you guys are seeing this, and I hope that you'll leave a comment and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching my FF7 video. We got more coming, along with more video game and board game videos. Talk to you next time.